few that happened like Pacquiao in this last one. He got caught. I mean, he got caught. But at the same time, I'm sharing with you, someone like Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray, or if you go back through time, you don't see how many hours they trained on conditioning. You don't see how many crunches they did. You don't see how them getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Who works for a big company in here? Okay, so you work for a big company, brand new. This your first time, sweetie?
No.
Okay, first time?
Yeah.
Okay, where do you work?
EDMC.
Okay, so there's a lot of employees, upper management, middle management, a president, obviously. How long have you worked there?
6 months.
6 months. When was the last time you talked to the president of EDMC? That's exactly my point. Now, I'm going to share that, sticking on number one for a second, because being a young brother from where I'm from, I'm in the same position. No matter how much education I have, no matter where I came from, being there in 6 months. By my 6th month, I had sit-downs with all 4 of the founders of the company. This company has been around for 20 years now. We're now, when I got started, we were just in the United States. We're now in 23 countries. We're about to expand into Mexico, South America, all through China and Japan. We're dominating throughout the entire world. I get paid in 23 currencies off of this little business. Are you with me on that so far? Now, in my first 6 months, I had a conversation with the president, and last night I was up working. I'm an workaholic. One of the things I learned about wealthy people are considered workaholics because they forget that they're working. Right. They love what they're doing. Is everybody with me on that so far? So I was up at 2:30, honestly, God, day after Christmas, right? I actually got a text at 5 o'clock in the morning from the president of the company. And I'm texting back, and he said, I didn't get the email, but I want to wish your family a happy Merry Christmas. This and personally from the president of the company. I text him back, he picks up the phone, we're on email, he said, send me this my email. And in my head, I have to share this because to talk to Greg Provenzano, for those that are new, when you get a chance to know who he is, you'll understand the magnitude of this conversation. To be on the phone at 5 o'clock in the morning, what I share with him is, I know why I work so hard right now when I have a founder of this company overriding 23 countries at $1 billion level, and he's up at 5 o'clock talking to me personally, returning a text. Because there's no corporate job, no matter how many years I worked there, that you would have that type of access to a president and a founder of the company. Are y'all feeling me on this so far? And it was one of the most extraordinary moments, which is what probably has me with insomnia right now, to the point that it's like, when you understand the integrity of this company, and you understand the fabric of the people, and the commitment level that the people have, this goes beyond anything. This is a self-development course with an incredible compensation plan attached to it. How many people like to grow into an amazing person and get paid for it? That's what you've been invited to. So when looking at that, and you see that the countries we're in, we have headquarters throughout the entire world. We're in Inc., Fortune, Forbes, USA Today, Success Magazine, Wall Street, CNBC, NBC. I was on The Apprentice in 2009. I helped create one of the largest viewerships in 2011. I tell people you don't have to like his hair or his politics. I said this on the call last night. But you cannot refute the fact that Mr. Donald Trump is one of the most documented billionaires of the 21st century. So I don't judge the man. I'm there to get the information. How many people understand the conversation? All right? As you move to number 2, what exactly do we do? Exactly the example I gave you. All we do is help people save money on bills they already have. But what's really extraordinary about number 2 is that who do you have for your cell phone? No, Cricket is not on there. Nor is Metro. No, I'm there with you. No worries. Who do you have for do you have cable?
I do.
Who do you have for cable?
Dish.
Okay, so we have Dish. Who do you have for your cell phone?
Right now,
Let's go.
I have Sprint.
Yeah, Sprint, yeah, right. So my point is that everybody knows these name brands. I'm not taking you from, I'm loving you. So you aren't taking you from one company to another company you've never heard of. Is everybody with me on that so far? You already have this product and service, is my point, that everybody is already familiar with. And the hardest thing about business is taking them from one company to a generic brand they've never heard of before.
Right.
That's what usually kills the deal. It's like, I don't know that I can trust it. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. This allows you to do a lateral move. No matter what they do, save them money on something that they already have. Is everybody with me on that so far? And in prime examples, I had a woman who had DirecTV. She was paying $200. We dropped her bill. She got the same program with the NFL station. We dropped her bill from $200 down to $53.99 a month. Now, she had to pay a $150 early termination fee, right? Because you get an ETF because you're under contract.
Right.
But she had 16 months left on her contract.
Oh,
So we saved her $150 times 15, 16 months. Though she had to pay the one-time ETF. We did the same thing, like you'll see at the top of this list on number 2. It says, the second bullet point says video phone. I have one currently at my home. I have one on the boat. I have one in my cabin. I have one in my house. I have one in my condo. That's plugged into my 70-inch as well as my 40-inch. I actually talk through the screen. Are you guys with me on that so far? In that phone already, you can surf and find YouTube on it. You can find Facebook on it. You can actually, already in parts of Europe and Asia, it already has linguistic technology. So that means if you talk in Cantonese and I talk in French, we hear each other in our own native tongue. The entire backdrop of the phone was built by Cisco. It doesn't get any better than that. So you don't have to worry about the technology. I had a guy who was paying $500 a month to stay in touch. Everyone here knows somebody from another country. They like to stay in touch with their family. Are y'all with me on that so far? So to stay in touch with his family in Honduras, his average phone bill plus the calling cards plus the cell phone was $500 a month. We dropped it down to $23.99 a month. Unlimited calling in 40 countries. And for the first time in 11 years, his parents were able to see his kids through the phone in HD. 10 times faster than anything you'd see on Skype.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good or good?
Yeah.
Okay? So everything in regards to technology, you go all the way back to the bottom of number 2, which is why we're all here, which is energy. So you're talking about being able to get paid every time someone turns on a light switch, cooks some food, takes a hot shower, or turns on an air conditioner here in Arizona. That combined with what's not on here is we're about to launch credit cards. So how many people know somebody that runs a club, runs a hair salon, has a small restaurant, has a grocery store? Wherever you go, what do? You're using your debit card, 90% of the population. So imagine anyone you know that may be a small or medium-sized business owner, and you trade out their machine. They get a lower percentage rate for what they're using the cards for, and you're getting up to 10% every time someone swipes their card. Is anybody getting excited about this yet? Okay. So if you take off your employee mentality and put on an employer mentality, this is a gold mine. See, there was nothing sexy about gigawatts, fiber optics, and telecom. There was nothing sexy about railroads back in the day. Nothing sexy, but that was Carnegie. Nothing sexy about oil back in the day. But are you guys following me on that? But that was Rockefeller. Right now, we live amongst 2 eras. We live amongst the information age and the health craze. Period. People are trying to stay alive longer, and people are trying to get information faster. So somebody can rival the conversation, well, you know, all my friends are on contract. The i6 come out today, everybody's dropping their contracts. The Galaxy 2 is out, everybody's getting the note. The way technology is moving, every 6 months there's a shift. And kids are the greatest example of that. Are you guys following me on that so far? So we're talking about a viable modern-day gold rush with the greatest shift of wealth you will ever see in the 21st century in your lifetime, good for another 17 years. And opinions don't count. Because every one of us is going to pay all of our money. You're going to go to work in linear income. That means when you stop working, you stop getting paid. You're going to go to work and take all of your hard-earned money and pay all of the bills that I'm talking about and pray that you have something left over. Now we're rerouting at least 10% of it back. I want you to do this. In your head right now, think of all of your bills. Those that pay bills in here. I want you to think about all of your bills you pay right now. Add them all up in your head. Now think about how long you've been paying bills. Now I want you to take 10% as long as you've been paying bills. I want to ask any of you your age. Now I want you to take 10% of every month that you pay your bills and put it in an account since you've been paying your bills.
Millionaire.
And then I want you to compound it with anywhere between 5 to 10 to 12% interest that's being paid to you on top of the 10% you put away. That's the business you just got invited to. Does that excite anybody besides me?
Yes.
That's just a business conversation. So when you look at that, number 3, how are you able to actually do this and save people money? How are you able to do that? So Stephen actually goes, and he knows a lot of people that drinks coffee. Brittany's going to get some coffee. Brittany goes to Starbucks and says, sir, I want a black coffee. You say, Brittany, that'll be $3. Brittany says, but Stephen sent me. Well, if Stephen sent you, it's only going to be $2. How many people know coffee tastes a whole lot better at $2 versus $3? Right? The coffee only costs 50 cents to make, so there's $1.50 in profit. 75 cents is paid to Starbucks. 75 cents is paid to Brittany. Is everybody with me on that so far? I'm sorry, to Stephen, and 75 cents paid to Starbucks, and she's getting it at $1 less. It's not Buck Star. They aren't changing the name of it. It's not a generic brand. So people say, well, what happens if something happens to my phone or my cable or my dish or my DirecTV? All Stephen did was make a referral. If Brittany has a problem with the coffee, she's going back to Starbucks. We don't have to ship the phone back, ship the service back, or go through a third person. My Sprint phone, I can take to any Sprint store in the continental U.S. and they're going to take care of it. I have an account with Sprint. He just made the referral. And I'm getting a lesser rate for everything that I'm doing and having the same direct contact that I already have. But by you being a representative, being an independent business owner, you're getting up to 10% on every time someone pays their bill for the rest of their life. That's just awesome to me. Okay, so number 3, done. Number 4, you get up to 10%. That's a sliding scale. We teach you how to acquire a solid 20 services. For some, it's easier than others. But imagine if you opened up a store and for the lifetime that you had your store, all you had to do was learn how to acquire 20 to 25 services and you were done for life. And then teach another person how to do that. Is everybody following me on that so far? The reason why that's important is because we don't want you to get the perception that we go door to door, stand outside a mall, schlepping around trying to get customers. We don't do that. In one of my homes, I have 3 phones, so that's 3 customers. I have 3 cell phones, one for me, my assistant, and for my son. That's 6 customers. I have cable in all 3 of my places. That's 9 customers. I have ADT security on all 3 of my places. That's 12 customers. So one astute or avid business person can have 15, 20, 30 services, and that's a one pop. Or you may come from a big family. Or you may have to put in some elbow grease and, you don't pay all your bills, or you may be on cricket and you may have to find 25 people. But if you can find 25 people and you allow us to teach you how to do that. Is everybody with me on that so far? In that, let's look at number 5. We're going to combine 4, 5, and 6. So you see you in number 5. That's you. We're going to teach you how to acquire 25 services. Would you like to own 1 Starbucks or 1,000?
1,000.
And not have to show up at any of them? Yes or yes?
Yes.
So everybody in here knows at least 2 people that are overworked and underpaid. What if you put just 2 people in front of me? I'm going to do the work. My leaders that I'm training are doing the work. You don't have to learn how to do this. You don't have to talk like this. You just have to be able to say, it's money. I need to show up for me. Y'all with me? Because I will teach you to get yourself out of the way. I don't want you messing it up. I don't want you talking. It's about duplication. If you understand business, the one who has the fastest copy machine wins. If you go to McDonald's and the M is upside down, that's called whack-donald's. You don't go. It's about the EBIT theory. You've got to have a system that is interchangeable that everybody can plug into. Is everybody following me on that so far? Yes. So let's just say, hypothetically, you turn me on to 2 people. I'm going to share the opportunity on your behalf. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to show the documentation. And you have 2 people that came in. Now, for somebody who has a strong sphere of influence, I may only have to talk to 2 to 3 people. For someone who's 18 or 19, I may have to talk to 100 people. But let's just say we found 2. Is everybody with me on that so far? 2 people. They know 2 people, and we build it. Hypothetically, it's perfect. It'll never work out like that. Because it's like a health gym. On New Year's Eve, everybody says, including this New Year's Eve, everybody's going to toast to the same thing. They've done it for 1,000 years before my life.
Right.
We're going to make money. We're going to get in shape. Everybody says the same thing. They lie every year. Are y'all with me on that so far?
Yep.
So this is not going to be any different. But the thing about it is, on New Year's Eve, 1,000 people will get a membership to a gym. A year later, 1 person will look good. That's the greatest amount of integrity you guys will get in my conversation tonight. That 999 people will fail. But they will fail not because it's not doable, but because they never had a business mind, a commitment level to change their life and learn something new. They were taught over 20 plus years how to get an education and work for somebody else and look for benefits that don't benefit anybody except for the corporation today.
That's right.
Is everybody with me on that so far? So in that, we built this, 2 people telling 2 people. Over the course of 6 months, you have over 250 business partners on your team. If you look at the hypothetical in number 6, everybody just got 10 services here. I'm not even talking about 25. We're looking at 10. We're going to say everybody's average bill is $40. I don't know anybody with a $40 cell bill, $40 electricity bill, $40 cable bill. So we're lowering it because everybody knows more than 2 people. And nobody's bills are $40. Based on this example alone, you would be making in excess of $5,800. Now, if you look at 4, 5, and 6 at the top, you'll see one consistent word. That's my wife. That's her name. It's called residual. I'm married to her. I love her. I want her to get, I want to put her on a diet. I want her to get so big. We just go to the bank. She puts in, she doesn't take out. It's a beautiful thing. That means you work in 2013, 14, and 15. You quit out of all 3 years of income, and it's paid to you whether you get out of bed or not. That's how the wealthy get paid. 99% of Americans work on linear income, no matter how intelligent they are as a doctor. Even in real estate, if you do a transaction in real estate and don't do something with the money within 90 to 120 days, the government comes and gets 30 to 40% of your money. The tax advantages of this are ridiculous. Just by getting in the business, if you didn't do anything and just saved your receipts, you would get back an extra $5,000 at the end of the year. I have more people getting in right now just to position themselves for the tax return on having their own 1099 instead of a W-2, which stands for waiting to exhale. Everybody with me on that so far? Okay? So $5,800 a month, you quit after a year. What happens to that money if you quit? It continues to hit your bank account. Why? Because your customers don't know you quit. They're going to pay their bills. Everybody say anyway.
Anyway.
Month after month after month after month. And I'm telling you, there is nothing more sexy than residual income. I wish I could put my head on your head, because it's one of those things that you have to experience. It's like telling you about Vail. If you ski until you experience it, there's no words I can tell you about it. You have to experience it. And I'll be honest with you, my first residual check, it took me 90 days to get that check, because I had to acquire Steven as a customer, then he had to use the service, then he had to pay his bill. So my first check was $22. But does anybody in here mind getting a $22 check that a year later is $22,000?
Mind it all.
And it just gets bigger and bigger. I learned two things from two billionaires. The two things are the most important things that stuck with me about money. Number one, if you know where all your money comes from, you don't have any. That was sobering to me, because I knew where every penny in my life was. The second thing he said is, if your money is not growing by a minimum of 30% every 6 to 12 months, you're going to end up destitute and broke within 7 years. Think about it. When was the last time you got a pay raise? Think about how many years you worked on a job, and think about the last time you actually got a raise. Now I want you to just add up the inflation over the last 5 years. Just start in 2009 if you choose to. You don't even have to go back 5. And look at the cost of living. Look at gas. Gas, it wasn't like it was 20 years ago. Gas was at $1.25 a gallon. Less than 5 years ago. Now it's over $5. That's a 500% increase in less than 3.5 years. Has anybody here gotten a 500% increase on your check? So if you don't have a plan B, you won't see the future. It's real simple. Is everybody with me on that? Even if you took your money and put it in a savings account, you won't get more than 6% back at best. And you better know somebody in the bank to get 6% back annually on your money. You're talking about 10 to 15 hours a week, and you're tripling up your income in less than 12 to 24 months. Is it work? I'm not going to sit up here and say, yeah, it's hard work. In fact, I like scaring people out. It'll be the hardest thing you ever did in your lifetime. I'm not even going to play. But here's my question to everybody sitting here. Do you work right now, brother?
Yes, sir.
Do you work hard?
Yes, sir.
So you're already working hard.
Yes, sir.
So you might as well work hard for 2 years instead of 40 years of your life, 40 hours a week, and retire on 40% of what wasn't enough in the first place. That just makes sense to me. Is everybody with me on that so far?
Oh, yeah.
You look at that number 7. We're going to speed it up. Number 7, the business cost me $499. And I'll be honest with you, I was making 6 figures, but I tell people if you make $100,000 a year, but you owe $200,000, you're just on a higher broke level. I didn't have $500, and at the time we didn't have debit cards. I had checks. I knew I had a check. I wrote a check, no money in the account. It bounced. Now I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. I'm just telling you, I saw this when it was just long distance, and I couldn't afford not to get in. I mean, we're in the house, so I'm just going to keep it real. Everybody say keep it real.
Keep it real.
I'm Cedric the Entertainer. I'm a grown-ass man that don't have $500. I really, to the point of tears, had a problem with that.
Right.
Does anybody understand that conversation?
Yes.
I had a family that depended on me. I had people that depended on me, and I did not have an extra $500. And I was working 80 hours a week. And I was like, I got in on November 25th. I'll never forget it. It was right after Thanksgiving. I saw it during that week. And I told everybody in my family, you aren't getting Christmas gifts this year, but you'll never go a Christmas or a month without getting gifts. And today I can honestly tell you, when my grandmother passed, I didn't have to call in sick. I was there every day for my grandmother. I was over her 5 years ago, 6 years ago. My father had prostate cancer. I found out on my birthday this year, October 15th. I'm there with him every day. Between me and my sister, anything he needs. I don't have to call in and hope that I'm going to lose my job or figure out. In fact, to have an in-house nurse for my father, because we didn't want my mother taking on the burden all day long. They told us it was going to be 80 hours a day. For 10 hours, that's $800 a day. Times a month, that's $24,000 a month. Just so we can have somebody to look after him. I don't know too many people who are in a position, period, on this planet, to be able to kick in an extra 24 grand a month, just so that your parents could be. Most people can't even get off of a job.
Right.
If somebody that's in your family gets sick, your first cousin, you don't show up until the funeral because you can't afford to leave the job. And I just wanted a different life. And I was that type of brother that if you said, I can show you how to change your life picking up bird crap. 3 things have to take place. Number 1, you have to have already done it. Don't try and sell me a house and you're still renting. Is everybody with me on that so far? Number 2, you have to be willing to show me how to do it, because everybody in this room knows somebody who has money. So my question one-on-one would be, how many people do you have in your phone that make 7 figures now? That would be my first question. I'm sure there's a few of you in here. And my second question would be, how many of those people on the phone are committed to showing you how to put an extra 7 figures in your life?
No.
That's what this whole game is about. The third thing is, it has to be layered in integrity. My son knows 2 words, God and integrity. If anything ever happens to his dad, that's all he needs to know. I told him he'll be good. Does that make sense, everybody? So, you look at number 7, you get the support, you get the commitment, you get a team, you get a squadron. Is everybody with me on that so far?
Yes.
Number 8 is corporately earned positions. The support of an online business to be able to work a laptop business anywhere in the world on 10 to 15 hours a week. You create your own hours, work 12 to 24 months, walk away, and that money continues to hit your bank account. It's just amazing to me. That's just amazing. You know, and I can show you all of how that works. Number 8 is your now money, because 4, 5, and 6 takes a minute to build. Hitting team trainer, that means that you got qualified, because each person that gets started in the business is like a store. So a store with no customers makes no money. Would everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we would teach this brother and this woman is how to start their business and through internal consumption sign up their own services to save money. Because if you can't believe in it, you can't move it. It doesn't matter how great the sizzle is. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is helping a person earn the position of executive team trainer. So we have several of them in this room, by the way, and it's a popcorn machine on our team right now. So earning the position of ETT positions you for an additional $3,000 a month. How many people on 5 hours a week could use an extra $3 grand a month? I mean, does that help anybody? How about just an extra $1,000 a month? And that really is on about 5 applicable hours per week if you do what I ask you to do. Is everybody with me on that?
Yes.
ETL, at that position, you're now making in excess of $84,000. You're in a position of making up to $84,000 a year. By the way, number 8 is on top of 4, 5, and 6. That's on top of your residual income that you're earning. Is everybody with me on that so far? Okay, so you're looking at being able to do that at, I mean, Tamika just hit ETT. Give her a round, you guys. Cody hit ETT. Who else do we have ETT in the room? I stopped counting.
Patricia over there.
Patricia? Go on, girl. Do the count. So my goal is within the next 2 weeks, we're going to break a minimum of 10 ETTs. And my goal is to really find 20, but I'm going to do a minimum of 10. Because it really only takes about 48 hours to 7 days if you follow my coaching. That's the trick. Is to follow my coaching. See, the older you are, the less coachable you are. You get ideas in your head and want to do it your way. My point is, Frank, you're the epitome of it. If you follow my coaching, I will take you to the promised land and show, because I can't make $1 unless you make 10. That's the beautiful thing about this. If you understand the marketing plan, it's like if you open up 1,000 stores and none of them have any customers, how much money are you going to make? None. So the key is that you have to find people who are a willing participant in their own rescue. Everybody with me on that so far?
Yes.
So at ETL, which is what Jamila just hit, her and Robin combined efforts. And we just locked that in. So at that position, and on top of that, which I just closed up today, her first month, she got in on the last day of October. So November was her first month. We're still in December. We just found out today that she's maxed out the entire ETT plan, so she's made $3,000 in her first month.
Yes. All right.
And that's just the start of me being able to find 10 other people that are going to do exactly the same thing between now and the close of January. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, is it doable? Yes.
Yes.
But the hardest thing is the first person who's going to actually do it. Mm-hmm. And that's why we had to create this story, because being able to hit ETL in under 60 days is not normal. But how many people know normal checks make you broke? How many people want an abnormal check?
Yes. Right.
Okay. So I'm not here for 3,000 or 7,000 at ETL that we're working on. But at TC, the average TC in my organization makes about $15,000 a month. That's average. And so we have a fast-track program of the people who want to do that in anywhere from 60 to 120 days. Mm-hmm. And so that's a grind, but I think it's worth it on 15 to 20 solid hours a week. You create your own schedule to be making an extra 10 to 15,000 a month on top of wherever you work right now as a plan B.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Is everybody with me on that so far? RD, just more money. RBP, more money. Now you got to understand, in the first, up until just about a few years ago, the top position was regional vice president. I took 3 years off. I lived in Italy, traveled around the world twice. I have 2 nonprofits. I help kids, and that's a whole other conversation in itself. I do for-profit and nonprofit as well, 2 and 4. And I have a whole development for inner city schools because that's where I'm from. So, you know, I've seen a lot between Chicago, St. Louis, as well as moving to California. I moved right on the brink of Linwood and Compton. I don't know if you guys know California, but that's where I started, by Whaley Junior High. I got scars all over me to be able to prove it. So, all the way up through Grape Street, kid. So, all of that, you know, and I just wanted to make a difference because even right now, you guys understand, I just got put on the board of directors dealing with some high-profile people and names that you guys know in Chicago, that I have to go out there and speak for a killing spur that's going on crazy in Chicago right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, it's crazy to the point that, you know, I get chills and want to cry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So, and the reason is, when you're dealing with a bad economy and people don't have an option, they don't know anything other than what they do. You know, and these are the same people who can run CEOs. I know people from the streets that can run Fortune 100 companies.
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that's what this is about for me. It's really about being able to give back. But at RVP, they opened up the position of SVP. At SVP, it starts at 6 figures a month. That's where it starts. So currently, there is approximately 25 SVPs in the company. Since they've opened that position a few years ago. Of those 25, 13 of them I've personally trained. So I tell people, God gave me 100 things to do, 99 outside of being a father I'm really bad at. But the one thing I do, I'm one of the best in the world at. You just have to have the heart of 10 lions. This is not about skill. This is not about talent. This is about work ethic and people who have a heart and desire. See, we learn how to survive on being broke. You can learn how to get wealthy. My thing was, I just didn't have anybody that was willing to show me how to do it. And I say it all the time. I wasn't that smart in high school or college. But I knew if I sat next to someone who got straight A's and I copied them, brother would get an A. It's real simple. So if you want to make $100,000 a month, you don't listen to somebody who makes $100,000 a year. And in this economy, it's when there's nothing there. It's almost like the FICO score on buying property is a moving target. You can't even hit it. You go in and get approved, and it's changed in less than 24 hours. Is everybody following me on that? Interest rates are at an all-time high. So SVP is the position in which why I came out of retirement. I'm completing that in the next 90 to 120 days. That makes this room a very special room. That's why I came out here in November to be able to build this area, is because currently there's only 12 states in the entire country that have a choice of gas and or electricity. So I want you to imagine, as I said on the call for those that heard me, I want you to imagine somebody said, there's this crazy company, they're going to name it after a fruit like an orange or banana. No, we think we're going to call it apple. And it's going to come into Arizona. And I'd like you to come over to Jay's house, and they're going to share the information on an IPO that's going to come out. And if you position yourself in the company and can make a decision right now, you're talking about the next 3, 4, 5 generations in your family will never have to work again because they invested in a company called Apple. Now, if you got that call a few years back and this was that meeting, would you take advantage of it based on what you know? Because that's the same call you got with understanding the gas and electricity. Everything that put Barack in the first term of office dealt with the offshore drilling. Everything we live in right now is dealing with natural oil, gas, and electricity. Everything is dealing with solar. Everything is dealing with the hydro cars. Everything is dealing about clean air. Is everybody following me on that so far? And you don't have to know how your cell phone works, but everybody in this room has one. So you don't have to know how it works. You just got to know people are going to use it and want to save money on what they're using anyway. Is everybody with me on that so far? So what you're looking at is this whole thing of, I like to say from QTT up to RD is undergraduate work that takes you to a 6-figure a year income. Anywhere between $100,000 to $250,000 in your first year if you follow the program that I put in place. Graduate work is your second, third, and fourth year. You can finish it when you want, just like college. Some finish early, some finish late. But let me honestly, if it took you 10 years, tell me your name again. Jennifer, if it took you 10 years and you worked this on 10 hours a week on your own time schedule, and you showed up at an extra 7 figures a year 10 years from today, would you be upset? Would anybody in here be upset? No. And you quit, and it continued to hit your children's bank account. That's the game. Number 9, I've already showed you that, so I'm just going to skip to number 10. The key to this is getting trained. Back to the health gym. If you aren't willing to get trained, don't do the business. We have a training this Saturday based on the people that are serious. I categorize people in 3 different positions. You have the number 3s. They say, this is interesting, it's just not for me. During the holidays, you took time away from your families. You're here tonight. I just thank you guys for being here. You could have done a whole lot of things. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. You will only learn that from somebody who's making over 7 figures. I learned it from Johnny Cochran. He said, if I miss a meeting, what do you think happens? I said, you fire them? He said, no. They get billable hours. He said, people don't know the price of their time because they don't pay attention to it. Just like people don't pay attention to air until they can't breathe. And you don't ask, at every funeral that every one of us has been at, all of us have said the same thing. I wish I had spent more time with you. That's what this is about. It's about collapsing time frames and getting your time back to do what you want, when you want, how you want, where you want, as long as you want. So if you're number 3 and it's not for you, just know that I feel blessed, and whoever invited you here, this is a special meeting that you need to thank them and just say, how can I help you? It's not for me, but thank you for inviting me out. Just tell me, out of respect for them loving you enough, because they didn't have to tell you. The guy who told me, he didn't have to tell me. I cannot tell you on God's name where I would be if he hadn't told me. I would have been pissed off to know another one of my friends got rich and didn't even share with me and had the power of telling me. At least give me the power to say, no, I don't want to do it, and get mad later, right? Right? But to be arrogant enough to just say, oh, he's not interested, and I was busy. I had no time. I just like some of you, I squeezed it in and made it happen. And I promise you, you just have no idea how God makes a turn. Because it has changed my entire landscape of my lifestyle. Entire. So if you're number 3 and it's not for you, I thank you guys for coming out this evening. If you're number 2 and you have questions, I'm going to stick around and have another 15-minute conversation to the team. We're going to take literally a 7-minute break, which is going to start in 10, because I know how y'all are. But I am like a plane. It will take off in 10. That means I need you in your seats, and I will only keep you for another 15 minutes to tell you what you need to do next to understand it. If you have questions, I answer every question. I think it's worth 30 minutes of your life to know that you could put an extra 6 to 7 figures in your bank account if you're serious or curious. And then there was that number 1. That was me. I was like, I don't need to hear nothing else. I'm in. I was like, Stephen, front row and center, what do I got to do? Okay, I don't have the money, but I'll figure that out. See, I didn't say, do you have $500? I said, do you want to change your life? That's what you need to hear. Listening is a tricky thing. You're like, I'd like to do this, but I don't have any money. That's why you need to stay and get in. Because I was broke. I didn't have an extra $500. But people spent all kinds of money on Christmas that they didn't have. Brandon got to figure out how they're going to get out of this hole going into 2013, taking care of the people that they love, spending money they don't have, maxing out cards they don't need, paying an interest rate that they can't even fathom. Does everybody follow me on that? So and so when he said, are you in? I said, yeah. He said, you ready to get started and pay? I said, yeah, but I ain't got no money. But I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to figure it out. And here's what I've learned. As being a wealth coach, one of the most powerful things that I've learned in life is how the universe works. It's a crazy thing. It's an amazing thing. You know why people don't figure it out? Because they're too busy being broke. Think about it. If you work a job, you sleep for 6 to 8 hours, there goes 8 hours. You work 8 hours, there goes 16 hours. Your drive time, there goes 2 more hours, there goes 18 hours. You got to eat, there goes 2 more hours, there goes 20 hours. Then on top of that, between a relationship, God forbid, there goes another 4. Don't have children, you're at a -6. When do you have time to eat? How could you really recognize an extraordinary opportunity if you don't even know what one looks like because you're too busy doing what you're doing? Does everybody follow me on that so far? So I have to stop and think and really look at a person's heart. That's why I showed up. They could have put me on TV. They could have given you one of my books. They could have given you a DVD. They could have given you a magazine. They could have went to YouTube. They could have showed you on a TV show I'm about to come out on NBC. There's all kinds of ways of finding me. Why did I get on a plane and leave my son, my ocean, my penthouse to fly here to see you? Because we live by a code. The philosophy of our family is that people don't care what you know unless they know that you care.
That's right.
That's right.
And somebody did it for me. And I don't care if I only get 3 crazy people in this room that said, I'm the one you're looking for. That's all I'm looking for. Because it's easier to run with 3 than to drag 1,000.
I know that's right.
If that makes sense, everybody.
Yes.
So I won't keep you past 30 minutes. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to make 2 things happen over the next 12 months in Arizona. I'm going to make 2 things happen for everyone sitting in this room. And I promise you, please get my email, stay in touch with whoever got you here. Even if you move, keep their number and check back on the 28th of December 2013. You will say one of 2 things. I hate that I didn't do it, and I'm hating myself. But thank God I did it. And I have a conviction and a commitment to make you say one or the other. Because it's going to find you. I'll find you. Please believe me. Asian, Latin, I don't care what color, white, I don't care. I will find you. That's just who I am. So we're going to take literally a 7-minute break. That's going to start in 10 minutes. I'm going to talk for 50